The storm roared, a feral beast tearing through the Cascadia wilderness, rain slashing like knives. I sprinted across the jagged forest floor, heart hammering. As the sky flared with an unnatural crimson glow, a plane had plummeted, its wreckage a twisted, glowing wound in the night's black heart. Instinct seized me. I didn't think, didn't hesitate. Flames devoured the shattered metal, and there, pinned in the cockpit, was Scarlett Vance, billionaire CEO, her face pale, unconscious, teetering on death's edge. The air reeked of fuel, thick with smoke, each second a cruel gamble against a fiery end. I clawed at the warp door, my hands blistering, muscles screaming. Dragging her limp body free just as the plane exploded in a thunderous roar, the shockwave hurling us into the mud. I shielded her, my breath torn, the world a dizzying blur of heat and chaos. That night, I wasn't Ethan Miller, the broke single dad scraping by in a nowhere town. I was her lifeline, a man who could still defy fate. That moment rewrote my story, pulling me from the ashes of my past. I don't know why I risked it all. Maybe it was for my daughter, Emma, to see her father as more than a failure. Maybe it was for me, to prove I could still fight. But as the flames roared behind us, I felt alive, reborn in the crucible of that disaster. Scarlett's survival was my redemption, a spark that would ignite a path I never imagined. If you've ever thrown yourself into danger for a stranger, heart pounding, knowing you might not walk away, drop a comment below. I'd do it too. I need to know how many of you have stared into that kind of fire, felt its heat, and chose to act anyway. Your stories matter. Share them, and let's uncover the courage that binds us. I read every word you write, and I'm grateful for your voice in this journey. I'm Ethan Miller, 38, a man forged in the crucible of loss and relentless grit. Cascadia, my home, is a forgotten speck where hope withers under gray skies and endless debt. My hands, calloused from odd jobs, wrenching engines. Hauling lumber, fight a losing battle to keep the bank from seizing our crumbling shack. My wife, Emily, was my compass, her laughter a beacon until cancer stole her away, leaving me and Emma. Our 8-year-old firebrand, buried in medical bills and grief's heavy shadow. I'm stubborn, loyal to a fault, my temper a caged beast I wrestle daily. My deepest wound is guilt. A gnawing ache that I failed Emily, couldn't save her, and now I'm failing Emma, who deserves a father who can give her the world, not just scraps. Every day, I patch our leaking roof. My hammer striking nails, but also my own doubts, wondering if I'm enough for her. I wear a stoic mask, hiding the fear that I'm not the man she needs, that I'm dragging her down with me. The plane crash, that fiery wreck in the wilderness, wasn't just a disaster. It was a mirror, reflecting a man who could still act, still fight, still be more than his failures. I don't talk about my past, the military tours that sharpen my instincts, or the nights I wake, sweating, hearing Emily's voice. I don't tell Emma how the townsfolk sneer, calling me a dreamer who'll never escape this hole. But her eyes, bright with curiosity, demand I try. I fix her toys, teach her to dream, even as I drown in bills. That crash showed me I could be a hero, if only for a moment. It stirred something dormant, a flicker of the man I was before life broke me. I'm not just a widower, not just a debtor. I'm Emma's father, and I'll claw through hell to give her a future. If I falter, it's not because I'm weak, but because I carry the weight of a love I couldn't save and a promise I must keep. Every Sunday, I sit on our sagging porch, clutching Emily's locket. Its chain frayed from years of restless fingers. Inside lies a faded photo of her and Emma, their laughter frozen in time, a cruel reminder of what I've lost. This ritual is my penance. Each glance at the locket a blade twisting in my chest, carving out the guilt of my failures. That locket holds my broken vow to give Emma a life free from want. Unshackled by the debts and dead-end jobs that chain us to this dying town. The night of the crash, I gripped it tightly, rain soaking my clothes as I carried Scarlett through the storm, Emma's wide, worried eyes tracking me from the window. It was Emily's courage I summoned, her voice echoing in my skull. Keep going, Ethan, for her. That locket is my anchor to the past. My shame for not saving Emily, but also my strength, a talisman of the love that drives me still. I don't show it to Emma. She doesn't need to see her father's ghosts. Instead, I tell her stories of her mother's fire, hoping she'll carry that light. The crash wasn't just chaos, it was a test, proving I could still act when the world burned. I see Emily and Emma's stubborn spark, her questions about the stars, her sketches of machines she dreams of building. I fix her broken toys with the same hands that failed her mother. Each repair is silent apology. The locket's weight reminds me of the bills piling up, the bank's threats, the townsfolk's whispers that I'll never rise above this dirt. But it also reminds me of why I fight for Emma, for the future Emily wanted for her. That night, as I saved Scarlett, I felt Emily's presence, urging me to be more than my mistakes. If I falter, it's not weakness. It's the burden of a man who loved too fiercely and lost too much. A stranger's life rested in my hands. Could I bear her weight and my own burdens, or would they crush me? The town's eyes bored into me, sharp as rusted nails, as I hauled Scarlett to our shack, her blood staining my shirt. Cascadia is a mean place. Its people hardened by lean winters and broken promises. They saw me, Ethan Miller, the fool who dared a burning wreck, and whispered I was chasing gold, not glory. Their voices hissed through the pines, greedy, desperate, a vulture picking at a rich woman's bones. I bandaged her wounds with rags, Emma's small hands passing me tape. Her face pale under the storm's howl. The neighbors' scorn grew, a tide of venom. Old man Carter, my landlord, leered from his truck, spitting that I'd sell my soul for a billionaire scraps. His words landed like fists, bruising the thin pride I clung to. I wanted Emma to see her father as a man, not a beggar, but the town painted me otherwise. Each sneer twisted my gut, made me question the fire I'd braved. Was I a hero or a scavenger? I fixed our creaking door, hammer heavy, each strike a defiance against their judgment, but doubt crept in, cold as the rain. Emma watched, her eyes too old for 8, carrying my shame. I told her we'd be fine, but the lie tasted like ash. The world outside our walls pressed harder, demanding I bend. Scarlett stirred, her eyes cutting through the dim shack, and offered a lifeline, cash, a new truck, my debts erased. I refused, pride a jagged stone in my throat. Then Carter stormed in, his breath sour with whiskey, demanding rent I didn't have. He sneered, "You're a leech, Miller, banking on her pity to crawl out of your hole." His betrayal stung worse than the town's whispers. A knife from a man I'd called neighbor. Emma overheard, her hands clutching her doll, eyes wet with a shame not hers. I stood tall, but inside I crumbled, seeing myself through Carter's gaze, a failure, a shadow dragging his daughter down. The shack's walls seemed to close, the air thick with my inadequacy. I'd saved a stranger, but couldn't save us from this. That night, I stared at Emily's locket, its weight a rebuke. Carter's words echoed, branding me less than a man. I wanted to scream, to break something. But Emma's soft breathing held me back. Shock interpolation. When those you trust spit in your face, who's left to believe in? Was Carter right to call me out, or was he the coward? Drop your take below. Have you been betrayed by someone you thought was kin? I wouldn't let Carter's venom define me. Dawn broke, gray and unforgiving, and I tore into Scarlett's shattered phone. Splicing wires with a soldier's focus, my hands steady despite the ache. It hummed to life, a small victory against the town's weight. Scarlett watched, her gaze sharp, and spoke of her empire. Circuits and dreams beyond my dirt-stained world. Emma, perched nearby, asked about machines, her voice bright with a hunger I couldn't feed. Scarlett saw her spark, called it rare. I pushed back against my doubts, agreeing to drive Scarlett to her team's outpost, 30 miles through mud and scorn. The truck groaned, its engine a mirror of my own faltering heart, but I drove. Emma beside me, her sketchbook clutched tight. It was a step, a fist raised against Carter's sneer, against the town's verdict. I wasn't their fool, I was a father, a man who'd faced fire. But as the road stretched, my grip on Emily's locket tightened, fear whispering. Could I trust this path? A billionaire's promise dangled before me, salvation or a noose. Scarlett's team descended, their sleek van slicing through Cascadia's mud, whisking her to safety. She turned, her eyes like flint, and invited us to Seattle, her company's grand launch. A chance for Emma and their Young Innovators program. Emma's face lit, her sketches of robots suddenly alive with possibility. I froze, the offer a blade hovering over my neck. Seattle was no place for us, its glass towers and sharp suits a world apart from our splintered shack. My fear wasn't just the city's strangeness, it was losing Emma to a life I couldn't grasp. Her spark outshining my shadow. That night, I found her sketchbook in the trash, pages torn, her dreams discarded. She confessed, voice small, "I'm tired of this nothing life, Dad." Her words gutted me, a mirror to my failure, rekindling the terror that I was no father, just a man dragging his daughter through ash. I'd braved fire to save Scarlett. But this was worse, a slow bleed, my inability to give Emma more than debt and dirt. I paced our creaking floor, Emily's locket heavy in my palm, its photo mocking my promises. The town's scorn still burned, Carter's betrayal a fresh wound, and now Emma's despair carved deeper. I saw her mother in her eyes, accusing me of letting hope die. Seattle loomed. A gamble with stakes I couldn't measure. Could I protect her there, or would I lose her to a world that chewed men like me to bone? I told her we'd go, my voice steady, but my gut churned, fear rising like a tide. The crash had shown I could act, but this was no wreck, it was a chasm, and I stood at its edge, blind. Scarlett's voice was low, her words sharp as she revealed her creation, the Apex interface, a neural bridge to tame her Parkinson's tremors. She spoke of Damien Croft, a rival CEO whose hunger for her tech knew no bounds. Her crash, she whispered, was no accident. Croft's hand, cloaked in shadow, had pulled the strings. My soldier's instincts flared, the hairs on my neck rising. Strange cars began circling our shack, their headlights slicing the dark, engines idling like predators. One midnight, a note slipped under our door, it scrawled chilling, "Stay away from Vance." I rigged motion lights, their glare harsh, and kept a wrench by my bed, its weight a cold comfort. Emma clung to me, her breath quick, fear in her eyes I couldn't shield. I faced the threat, no choice left. Telling Scarlett we'd join her in Seattle, not for her wealth, but for Emma's chance to rise. Croft's shadow stretched long, his reach and noose tightening. I checked the truck's engine, my hands moving on memory, each bolt a defiance against the menace. The road to the outpost felt like a gauntlet, every shadow a threat, Emma's sketchbook her only shield. I taught her to watch, to listen, my voice calm but my pulse racing. Scarlett's jet waited, a sleek beast promising safety, but I saw Croft's eyes in every stranger. My fear wasn't just for me, it was for Emma. Her dreams now a target. I'd faced death in the crash, but this was a different beast, cunning and patient. Public reaction, interpolation. I could have stayed, kept us hidden, safe in our misery. But why must the hunted always cower? Should I have fled or fought? Tell me below, what would you do when danger stalks your child's future? I packed our meager lives. Emma's sketchbook nestled among clothes worn thin. I told her, "We're not running, girl, we're carving a path." Her smile, fragile but fierce, fueled me. I rebuilt the truck's carburetor, hands steady, turning fear into motion, each wrench turned a vow to outlast Croft's game. Scarlett's jet loomed, a steel promise, and I gripped Emily's locket, its chain biting my palm, swearing to shield Emma from this world's teeth. My will wasn't mere survival. It was redemption, a father's oath to be more than his scars. I saw Emma's spark, her questions about circuits, her dreams too big for Cascadia's dirt. I wouldn't let Croft, Carter, or my own doubts snuff it out. The town's whispers faded, their scorn a distant sting as I loaded our bags, Emma's hand in mine. Seattle wasn't just a city, it was a battlefield, and I'd walk it for her. My military days taught me to watch, to wait, to strike when the moment came. Croft's threat was real, but so was my resolve. Forged in the crash's fire, tempered by Emma's trust. I wasn't just a widower, a debtor, I was her father, and I'd face hell to keep her safe. As the jet's engines roared, I felt the locket's weight. Emily's voice steadying me, for her, Ethan. I'd carry us through, not because I was fearless, but because I had no other way. Seattle beckoned, a crucible of promise or a trap sprung by Croft's hand. Seattle hit like a fist, its spires of glass and steel looming over us, a labyrinth indifferent to men like me. Vance Technologies' headquarters stood as a fortress, its polished halls alien to my scuffed boots. Scarlett welcomed us, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. But I felt like a stray dog among wolves. Emma dove into the Young Innovators program, her sketches earning nods from engineers, her spark a beacon in this cold place. I lingered in shadows, ears sharp, hunting for traces of Damien Croft's venom. Whispers among Vance staff, hacked servers, missing files, set my nerves ablaze. Scarlett shared Apex's secrets, a neural interface that could heal minds or, in wrong hands, bend them. I scoured online forums, my old laptop flickering, unearthing crash site photos, jagged cuts in the fuselage. No accident, but sabotage. Croft's name surfaced in dark corners, tied to mercenaries and corporate theft. My soldier's instincts screamed, he'd strike at the launch. A vulture circling a wounded beast. I slipped into Vance's server room, my flashlight cutting the dark, tracing cables for signs of tampering. A guard's footsteps echoed, but I melted into the gloom. Heart pounding, finding a spliced wire, a silent betrayal. I overheard techs muttering about a mole, their eyes darting, trust thin as ice. Emma's laughter from the workshop haunted me. Her future hung on this fight. I dug deeper, piecing together Croft's plan. Disrupt the launch, steal Apex, ruin Scarlett. My hands shook. Not from fear but rage, the kind that burned slow and deep. I wasn't just a father here. I was a hunter, stalking a predator in a city that didn't know my name. Each clue tightened the noose around Croft, but also around us. I told Scarlett my findings, her face hardening, and she upped security, her trust in me a weight I carried like stone. The city's pulse thrummed, its lights blinding, but I saw only Emma's face, her dreams at stake. I'd tear through this maze to keep her safe, no matter the cost. Advanced tech, lean and suspicious, caught me in the server room, his voice sharp, accusing me of spying. I stood my ground, wrench in hand, my gaze steady, explaining I was guarding Emma's future, not stealing secrets. He backed off, eyes wary, but his retreat felt like a feint. That night, my phone buzzed, a text from a hidden number. Leave Seattle or Emma pays. Rage surged, a tide I barely contained, but I kept my head. Tracing the message to a burner, Croft's shadow lurking. I warned Scarlett, her face a mask of steel, and she locked down Vance's systems, guards doubling at every door. I patrolled our hotel's dim halls, my steps silent, senses honed from years in war's teeth. A shadow moved in the lot, a figure tailing us, his silhouette sharp against the neon. I cornered him in an alley, wrench raised, my voice low, demanding answers. He bolted, dropping a Vance ID badge, Croft's mole, planted deep. I handed it to Scarlett, proof of the rot within her walls. She nodded, her eyes cold, and I saw the fight in her, a mirror to my own. Emma slept, unaware, her sketchbook open to a robot's blueprint, her dreams fragile as glass. I checked the hotel's locks, my hands steady, each click a vow to keep her safe. The city's hum felt like a trap, its streets a gauntlet. I taught Emma to spot danger, strange faces, odd sounds, her eyes wide but trusting. Croft's threat wasn't just to Apex, it was to her, to us. I'd faced fire before, but this was a blade, precise and patient. The badge burned in my mind, a sign we were hunted. I rigged our room's door with a wire, a soldier's trick, its faint creak my only warning. Scarlett's team swept for bugs, finding none, but I trusted no one. The launch loomed, a storm gathering, and I was its lightning rod. Debate interpolation, they branded me a nobody, but I'd unmasked Croft's game. Was I reckless, risking Emma for truth? Or was silence the real betrayal? Share your verdict below. Would you fight or fold? I faced Scarlett in her office, the city's glow a harsh halo through the glass. I'd guard the launch, I told her, my voice like iron. My skills, mechanics, survival, a soldier's eye weren't polished, but they were true. She nodded, assigning me to the tech crew, her trust a blade I'd wield. Emma overheard. Her face torn between fear and pride, and I knelt, promising no one touches you or Apex. My hands steadied, the locket's weight grounding me, Emily's voice a whisper, for her. I studied the launch setup, memorizing wires, exits, every bolt and screen. Croft's plan would be surgical, a thief in the night, but I'd be ready, a hunter in the dark. I walked the stage. My boots heavy, eyes scanning for flaws. A loose panel, a tampered drive. The crew watched, wary, but I didn't care. This was my fight. Emma's sketches, now pinned in Vance's workshop, drove me she'd rise, no matter the cost. I rigged a backup system, my hands moving on instinct, each connection a defiance. The city's pull speed against me, its wealth and power a taunt. But I was no stranger to hard odds. My military days taught me to read men, to smell deceit, and I'd use it all. Croft's mole was gone, but others might lurk, their eyes hidden in the crowd. I told Scarlett to watch her back, her not a pact between us. The launch wasn't just her war, it was mine, for Emma, for the man I could still be. I checked my wrench, its heft a comfort, and walked the halls, a ghost among machines. The stage lights burned, the crowd's murmur a distant roar, but I saw only Emma, her future hanging on my next move. I wasn't just a father. I was a shield, a blade, a man who'd face hell to keep his word. The launch was hours away. Would I stop Croft's knife or feel its edge? The launch day dawned. Seattle's skyline a jagged scar against a bruised sky. Vance's auditorium pulsed with cameras and suits, their chatter a low hum like flies on carrion. I moved backstage, my boots silent on polished floors, eyes scanning the Apex interface rig, a web of wires and screens, Scarlett's dream made metal. Emma sat in the crowd, her sketchbook clutched, waving at me. Her trust a weight heavier than my wrench. I checked the demo unit, hands steady, tracing cables for sabotage. A relay sparked, its casing cracked, a subtle wound no engineer would catch. Croft's hand, I knew it, his venom seeping into the machine's heart. I swapped it out, my fingers quick, sweat beading under the stage light's glare. The crowd swelled, their faces blurred. But I saw only Emma, her future tied to this moment. Scarlett took the stage, her voice cutting through the noise, explaining Apex's promise, minds freed from trembling cages. My pulse thrummed. Each second a step on a knife's edge. I patrolled the tech booth, my gaze sharp, catching a tech's nervous glance, his hands too quick on a console. I leaned close, my voice low, warning him off without a word. He froze, then nodded, backing away. The demo began, a volunteer's thoughts dancing on screen, the crowd gasping as Apex worked its magic. Applause erupted. A fleeting victory, but I stayed vigilant, my wrench a cold anchor in my pocket. Croft's shadow lingered, his plan not yet broken. I scanned the exits, the rafters, every corner where betrayal could hide. Emma's wave grounded me, her pride afire in my chest. I wasn't just a father here. I was a sentinel, guarding a dream not mine but hers. The city's wealth pressed against me, its power a taunt, but I'd faced worse in deserts and jungles. This was my first step, a defiance carved in steel and sweat, a vow to keep Emma's light burning. The stage lights burned, the crowd's roar faded, and I stood ready, a man forged in ash, unyielding. The demo's success was a spark, brief but fierce, lighting the auditorium with awe. Apex linked mind to machine, Scarlett's vision alive, and for a moment, I felt the win. But a Vance guard grabbed my arm, his grip iron, accusing me of tampering with the rig. I showed him the cracked relay, its sabotage clear, my voice steady despite the rage clawing my throat. He relented, eyes narrow, but the suspicion lingered, a stain I couldn't scrub. Backstage, whispers spread, techs eyeing me, a stranger in their polished world. I ignored them, checking the backup systems, my hands moving on instinct, each wire a thread in Emma's future. In the workshop, Emma faced her own thorns. Kids and young innovators mocked her, calling her a hick, her sketches crude against their sleek designs. She stood tall, her jaw set, but I saw the hurt in her eyes. A wound I couldn't shield. I knelt beside her, my voice low, telling her they feared her fire. She nodded, clutching her pencil, but the sting remained. Croft's threat loomed larger. His mole's badge still burning in my mind. A new text hit my phone. She's not safe. My blood froze, but I traced it to another burner, Croft's game tightening its grip. I doubled my patrols. My steps a rhythm of dread, each shadow a potential blade. Scarlett tightened security, her face a mask, but I saw her tremor worsen, Apex's weight crushing her. The city's pulse was a trap, its streets a maze of eyes. I taught Emma to stay close, her sketchbook her armor, but the pressure grew, a vice on us both. My first win, the relay, felt hollow against these obstacles. Each one a reminder I was no hero, just a man fighting a tide. Yet Emma's trust held me fast, her dreams a beacon I couldn't fail. Community divide interpolation. That relay save was my stand. But some called me paranoid, a meddler. Am I guarding Emma's future or chasing ghosts? Tell me below, is my fight justice or am I tearing us apart? I stood in Vance's server room, the hum of machines a pulse matching my own. I'd saved the demo, but Croft's shadow stretched long, his blade still sharp. I doubled my watch, eyes tracing every tech, every wire. My wrench a constant in my grip. Scarlett offered me a role, security, real work, a place in her world. I took it, not for the pay but for Emma, her sketches now framed in the workshop. Her spark undeniable. I taught her to read a room, to spot lies in a glance, my voice steady, her eyes keen. She learned fast, her questions sharp, a mind too big for Cascadia's dirt. I checked the launch systems again, my hands steady, each bolt a vow to outlast Croft's game. The city's lights mocked me, its wealth a wall, but I'd climbed worse. My military days gave me edges, patience, instinct, the will to act when others froze. Croft's threats were real, but so was my resolve, forged in the crash's fire, tempered by Emma's faith. I wasn't just a widower, a debtor. I was her father, a shield against a world that would break her. Scarlett trusted me, her not a pact, and I'd honor it, not for her but for the girl who'd rise. I walked the stage at dawn, the auditorium silent, its lights dim, and saw Emma's face in every shadow. The locket burned against my chest, Emily's voice a guide. For her, Ethan. I rigged traps, loose wires, fake drives, to catch Croft's next move. My hands steady, each trick a soldier's art. The crowd would come, their eyes blind to the war I fought, but I'd stand ready. A ghost in their machine. My commitment wasn't to Vance or Apex, it was to Emma, to the man I could still be. The launch was a crucible, and I'd walk its fire, not for glory, but for her. Croft's strike was coming. Could I outrun his shadow, or would it swallow us whole? The auditorium throbbed, a beast of glass and steel, its air thick with the hum of anticipation. Seattle's elite packed the seats, their eyes glinting under Vance's blazing lights, cameras poised like vultures. Scarlett stood center stage, her frame slight but unyielding, the apex interface gleaming behind her, a neural crown promising salvation. I lurked backstage, my boots silent on polished floors, wrench heavy in my grip, every nerve taut as a bowstring. Emma sat in the front row, her sketchbook tied against her chest, her gaze fixed on me, a beacon in this sea of strangers. The demo began, Scarlett linking to Apex, her tremors fading as thoughts danced on screen, a miracle woven from code and will. The crowd leaned forward, breathless, but I saw only shadows, Croft's venom coiled, ready to strike. My eye swept the tech booth, catching a tech slipping a drive into the main console, his movements too precise, too sly. I surged forward, heart hammering, and tackled him, my shoulders slamming him against the wall. The drive clattered free, its casing marked with a cipher I'd seen in Croft's dark web traces. I yanked it out, the console sparking, Apex's signal flickering but holding. The crowd gasped, unaware, their applause masking the chaos. Scarlett's voice faltered, then steadied, her eyes meeting mine, a silent pact. I handed the drive to a guard, my voice low, ordering a sweep of the rig. My soldier's instincts burned, every sound a threat, every face a potential mask. Emma's wave steadied me, her trust a fire I couldn't fail. The tech booth was a maze of wires, each one a vein in Apex's heart, and I guarded it, a sentinel carved from grit and loss. Croft's plan was unraveling. But he wasn't done, his shadow loomed, a predator circling. I scanned the rafters, the exits, my wrench a cold vow. The city's wealth pressed against me, its power a taunt, but I stood firm. A man forged in ash, unyielding. This was the climax, the moment truth would break or be buried, and I'd tear it free, for Emma, for Scarlett, for the man I'd become. The demo ended. Applause thundering, but Scarlett's voice cut through, sharp as a blade. She named the sabotage, her words ice, pointing to the drive in my hand, Croft's poison, meant to gut Apex and Vance. The crowd stilled, their murmurs dying, cameras swiveling to me as I stepped into the light, the drive raised like a trophy of war. I spoke, my voice rough, laying bare Croft's plot, the crash, the moles, the threats to Emma. Each word was a stone, building a truth no one could ignore. Scarlett backed me, her gaze fierce, detailing Croft's empire of deceit, his hunger for Apex's power. The auditorium was a tomb, every eye on us, the air heavy with shock. Emma stood, her small frame defiant, her sketchbook a shield, her pride in me a fire that burned away my doubt. News crews surged, their lenses hungry, broadcasting Croft's fall to a world beyond these walls. I handed Scarlett the drive, its cipher a death knell for his schemes. She displayed it on screen, the code unraveling. Proof of his rot. The crowd stirred, some nodding, others whispering, their faith in Vance shaken but mending. My hand steadied, the locket's weight a reminder of Emily's voice, for her. I wasn't just a father now. I was a witness, a blade cutting through lies. Croft's name echoed, a curse in the halls, his empire cracking under the weight of truth. I saw Emma's eyes, bright with tears, not of fear but of triumph. The techs who'd scorned me watched, their gazes shifting, respect creeping in. Scarlett's hand grazed mine, a gesture of trust. A bond forged in this crucible. The city's pulse was a distant hum, its wealth irrelevant against this victory. I'd faced fire, betrayal, and doubt, but here, in this moment, truth stood tall. A monument to Emma's future. The cameras rolled, the world listening, and I stood unbowed, a man who'd clawed through hell to bring light. This wasn't just Scarlett's war, it was ours. And we'd won the first blow. The auditorium exhaled, its silence breaking into murmurs, a tide of awe and disbelief. Vance's staff, once cold, approached me, their hands extended. Apology sharp in their eyes. They'd seen me as a drifter, a nobody, but now I was their shield, my wrench a scepter of grit. Emma's bullies and young innovators fell quiet. Her sketches now revered, pinned high in the workshop, her talent a flame no one could dim. The crowd's gaze shifted, their skepticism cracking, replaced by something like faith. Scarlett spoke, her voice steady, praising my resolve, calling me the heart of Vance's stand. I stood beside her, the locket heavy, Emma's face my anchor. The media swarmed, their questions a storm. But I answered true, my words raw, carving Ethan Miller into their story, not a failure, but a father who fought. The techs who'd whispered behind my back now nodded, their hands helping me check the rig, trust earned in sweat and steel. Emma hugged me, her arms fierce, whispering, "You did it, Dad." Her pride was a blade, cutting through years of guilt. The city's elite, once distant, clapped, their applause grudging him. Croft's shadow retreated, his name a stain, his allies exposed, their masks torn. The auditorium's lights burned, illuminating a truth no one could deny. We'd stood against a titan and held. My military scars, my widower's grief, my debtor's shame, they were no longer chains but badges, proof I could rise. Scarlett's tremor eased, Apex's promise alive, her gratitude a quiet fire. The world beyond these walls watched, their verdict shifting, seeing not a hick but a man unyielding. I wasn't just Emma's father, I was a force, a spark that could change tides. Audience guidance interpolation, that moment silenced doubters, turned their eyes to truth. Have you ever stood tall, forcing the world to see you anew? Share your story below. I read every word, and your fight fuels mine. Croft's empire cracked, but would his wrath follow, or had we broken him? The auditorium's echo faded, Seattle's lights a cruel glare through Vance's glass walls. I'd stopped Croft's blade, saved Apex, but doubt gnawed, a worm in my bones. Had I risked Emma for pride, dragging her into a war not ours? The drive I'd seized lay heavy in my pocket, its cipher a taunt, proof of my win or my folly. I paced the empty stage, boots scuffing polished wood, the locket's chain biting my palm. Emma slept in our hotel, her sketchbook open, her dreams safe for now, but I saw only the threats still circling, Croft's shadow unbroken. My hands, scarred from fire and steel, felt frail, unworthy of her trust. I'd played hero, but what if I was just a fool, a widower chasing ghosts? The city's hum mocked me, its wealth a mirror to my lack. I'd stood tall for Scarlett, for Emma, but each step felt like a gamble, my heart a cracked vessel leaking fear. Was I enough, or had I built a cage for us both? The stage lights dimmed, their cold glow a judgment, and I stood alone, a man unmoored, questioning the fire I'd braved. In the hotel's dim room, I clutched Emily's locket, its photo a wound that never closed. Fear rose, sharp as a blade, fear of failing Emma, of losing her to this city's jaws, to Croft's next strike. I saw my past failures, Emily's fading breath, the debts that chained us, the town scorn. Each a stone, piling high, threatening to crush. I whispered to the dark, confessing my dread. I wasn't enough, never had been. Emma stirred, her voice soft. "You're my hero, Dad." Her words pierced, a light in my abyss, but the fear clung, a shadow I couldn't shake. I traced the locket's edge, Emily's gaze steady, urging me to stand. I'd faced fire, tackled Croft's mole. But this was harder, a war within, my soul a battlefield. Could I shield Emma, or was I her ruin? The city's pulse thrummed, a beast waiting to swallow us. Deep empathy interpolation. I stood at my breaking point, alone with my doubts. Ever felt the world's weight, fighting a war no one sees? Share your struggle below. Your pain is mine, and we're not alone. Dawn broke. Gray and unyielding, Seattle's spires cutting the sky. I held Emma's hand, her warmth a vow I'd keep. I wasn't fearless, but I was hers, a father carved from loss and grit. The locket's weight steadied me, Emily's voice clear. For her, Ethan, I'd stopped Croft's drive, saved Scarlett's dream, Proof I could act, could stand. My doubts were real, but so was my will. Forged in the crash's flame, tempered by Emma's faith. I wasn't just a widower, a debtor. I was a man who'd clawed through hell and stood. Scarlett's trust wasn't pity, it was respect. A mirror to my worth. I'd guard Emma, not because I was whole, but because I was broken and still fought. The city's jaws loomed, Croft's shadow lingered, but I'd face them, my wrench a blade. My heart a shield. Emma's sketches, pinned in Vance's halls, were my purpose, her future, bright, unyielding. I'd walk this path, not for glory, but for her, for us. The war wasn't over, could I hold fast, or would doubt betray me? Seattle's streets buzzed, a hive stung by truth. The media swarmed, their cameras ravenous. Spitting my name, Ethan Miller, across screens, a widower turned avenger. Croft's fall was blood in the water, headlines screaming his deceit, Apex's triumph, my stand. Some call me a hero, a father who broke a titan. Others branded me a vigilante, a drifter tearing at order's seams. Social feeds burned, voices clashing, praise from strangers. Venom from suits who saw me as a threat to their polished world. Vance's gates faced protests, Croft's pawns rallying, their signs scrawled with lies, claiming I'd framed their master. I stood at Emma's side, her hand small in mine, her sketchbook a shield against the noise. The city's pulse was a beast, its wealth a wall, but I felt its cracks. Scarlett faced the press. Her voice steel, defending me, her tremor hidden, but her fire clear. Emma's sketches trended, her talent a spark the world couldn't douse. Yet the praise felt hollow, the hate sharper. Each word a stone flung at my resolve. I checked our hotel's locks, my wrench a cold vow, knowing Croft's allies watched, their eyes in every shadow. The locket burned against my chest. Emily's gaze urging me on. I wasn't a hero or a villain, just a man guarding his daughter's light. The chaos grew, a storm I'd unleashed, and I stood in its eye, unyielding. Public judgment interpolation. Some hail me, others curse me. Would you stand with a man who fights for his child, or call him a wrecker? Drop your verdict below. What's justice when truth stirs chaos? Croft's empire bled, its veins cut by truth, but his allies lashed out, rabid. Leaked emails flooded the dark web, lies painting me as a thug, a liar who'd forged the drive. News vans camped outside Vance, their lights aglare, while Croft's proxies spread venom. Posts claiming Emma was a pawn, her sketches stolen. My blood boiled, but I kept steady, shielding her from the filth. Protests swelled, Croft's hired hands chanting, their fists raised, bricks shattering Vance's glass doors. I patrolled the perimeter, my steps silent, wrench heavy. Eyes catching a glint, spray paint on Emma's workshop window, traitor's brat. I scrubbed it clean, my hands raw, her tears a blade in my gut. Scarlett's team traced the leaks. Finding Croft's lieutenants, their accounts unraveling, but the damage spread, a wildfire I couldn't quench. The city's hum turned feral, its streets a gauntlet. I taught Emma to walk close. Her sketchbook her armor, but fear crept into her eyes. Croft's shadow wasn't gone, his wrath surged, a beast cornered. I rigged our hotel door with wire, a soldier's trick, its creak my sentinel. Scarlett's voice cracked, her Parkinson's worse under the strain, yet she stood with me, her trust afire. The media churned, some outlets turning, swayed by Croft's gold. I wasn't just a father now. I was a target, my every move watched. The locket's weight held me fast, Emily's voice a whisper, for her. I'd face this storm, not for glory, but for Emma's dawn. The chaos carved a new path. Unyielding, Scarlett called me to Vance's heart, her office a fortress of glass, and offered sanctuary, a home in Seattle, under her shield. The city's jaws loomed, but so did Emma's future. Her sketches alive in Vance's halls, her spark too bright for Cascadia's dirt. I accepted, not for me, but for her, my voice steady, the locket's chain biting my palm. Our shack was a memory. Its dit's a fading scar, Seattle was our crucible now. I'd be Vance's sentinel, my wrench traded for keys to their security, my soldiers eye their blade. Emma would grow here. Her young innovators badge a vow of her rise. But Croft's allies lingered, their threats a low hum, a storm not yet broken. I walked Vance's halls, my boots heavy, each step a defiance against the eyes that watched. The media's gaze followed, some praising, others clawing, my name a spark in their war. Scarlett's trust was my anchor. Her Parkinson's a shadow we'd fight together. Emma's hand in mine was my purpose, her dreams my map. The city's wealth was no haven, its streets a maze, but I'd navigate them, a father forged in ash. The locket burned, Emily's voice clear. Keep going. I wasn't free of doubt, but I was Emma's, and that was enough. Seattle was ours, but would Croft's wrath find us? Or had we carved a new dawn? Seattle's dawn bled gray, its spires jagged against a bruised sky. I stood guard at Vance's gates, wrench cold in my grip, eyes scanning for Croft's lingering claws. A figure emerged from the mist. Lean and wary, a Vance tech, once skeptical, now holding a drive etched with Croft's leaked emails. His name was Jace, his voice low, offering proof of Croft's moles still buried deep. He doubted me, called me a drifter, but the auditorium's truth shifted his gaze. He'd hacked Croft's servers, risking his neck, driven by my stand. I took the drive, its way to New Val. My not a pact sealed in silence. Jace's eyes held no pity, only respect, a mirror to the man I'd become. Emma watched from the workshop, her sketchbook open, her spark a beacon. Jace joined me. His tools a soldier's kit, tracing Vance's systems for betrayal's tracks. The city's pulse thrummed, a beast stirring, but I wasn't alone now. Jace's intel was a blade, cutting through Croft's shadow, exposing his allies' moves. I gripped the locket, Emily's whisper clear. For her. This wasn't just my fight, Jace's choice made it ours, a spark against the dark. The streets beyond Vance's walls churned, media vans circling, but we stood firm, two men bound by truth's harsh light. A stranger's trust could it hold? Or would it break under Croft's next strike? Jace and I worked through the night, Vance's server room a crypt of humming steel. His fingers danced on keys, unearthing Croft's coded threats. While my wrench rested, a sentinel's weight. Emma joined us, her questions sharp, her sketches mapping Apex's future. Scarlett entered, her tremor faint but her gaze iron, mentoring Emma. Guiding her hand on circuits, the four of us forged a bond, not of blood but of fire, each scar a thread tying us tight. Jace shared his past, orphaned, clawing through Seattle's underbelly. His hacks a rebellion against titans like Croft. I saw my own grit in him, my loss in Scarlett's quiet pain, my hope in Emma's spark. We ate cold coffee and stale bread, our laughter raw, a defiance against the city's jaws. Scarlett's trust in me deepened, her words sparse but heavy, a mother's echo for Emma. I taught Jace my soldier's tricks spotting lies. Rigging traps, his nod a vow to stand fast. Emma's sketches grew bolder, her voice fierce, binding us closer. The locket burned against my chest, Emily's presence a guide. This wasn't just a team. It was a family, carved from ash and steel, unyielding. Our bond was iron, but would it withstand the storm Croft's wrath would bring? Vance's halls hummed, its staff no longer cold but alive, rallying to her side. Techs once wary now guarded Emma, their tools a wall against Croft's lingering venom. Engineers shared their keys, opening server rooms, their trust a fire kindled by our stand. Seattle's streets echoed with voices, strangers posting Emma's sketches, praising her spark, drowning Croft's lies. A coder, I shadowed, slipped me a flash drive, more of Croft's plans. Stolen from his proxy's dark web. The workshop buzzed, Emma's peers now allies, their designs meshing with hers, a chorus of defiance. Scarlett spoke to the staff, her voice steady, naming me their shield, her gratitude a quiet blade. I patrolled, wrench in hand, but no longer alone, Vance's eyes watched. Seattle's air crackled, its pulse a roar as news vans choked the streets, their lights carving scars across Vance's glass. My name, Ethan Miller, bled through screens, a widower's stand against Croft's deceit, now a global fire. Broadcasters dissected my fight, some hailing me a father's blade, others spitting venom, calling me a rogue tearing at order's roots. Social feeds erupted, Emma's sketches shared 1,000,000 times. Her spark a beacon drowning Croft's lies. Hashtags, hashtag Miller versus Croft, hashtag Apex Truth, swelled. Voices from distant cities chanting our defiance. I stood in Vance's shadow, wrench heavy. Watching reporters swarm Scarlett, her voice iron despite her tremor's bite. They pressed me, their mics a gauntlet, but I spoke plain, my words raw, cutting through their noise. I fought for Emma's dawn, not glory. The city's wealth loomed, a cold wall, but its cracks widened, the world's eyes on us. Jace's hack drives fueled the storm, Croft's schemes laid bare. His empire a rotting husk. Emma's hand in mine was my anchor, her sketches a spark the media couldn't quench. Yet the spotlight burned, its glare a weight, each headline a stone flung at my resolve. Social debate interpolation. My story split the world, hero or menace. Why do we vilify those who fight for truth? Share your take below. When did you face hate for standing tall? The law stirred, slow but unyielding, its gears grinding Croft's empire to dust. Arrests came swift, his lieutenants cuffed, their accounts frozen, their lies unraveling in court filings. The drive I'd seized, its cipher cracked, was evidence now, a noose tightening on Croft's neck. Seattle's courts buzzed, their marble halls a stage where truth cut deep. Scarlett testified, her voice steady. Apex's promise her shield, her Parkinson's a shadow she defied. I stood outside, Emma at my side, her sketchbook open, her eyes fierce. The media circled, their cameras hungry. But justice wasn't theirs, it was ours, a blade forged in our stand. Vance's staff rallied, their tools guarding Apex, their trust in me afire. Jace's intel sealed the case, his hacks alight in the law's cold eye. The city's pulse thrummed, no longer a trap, but a tide lifting us. Croft's allies faltered, their protests fading, their venom spent. The locket pressed my chest, Emily's whisper fierce, for her. I wasn't a hero, just a father who'd clawed through ash, but justice saw me, its verdict a spark for Emma's path. Justice struck. But would Croft's shadow linger, or was our fight done? I stood on Vance's roof, Seattle's spires a jagged him under dusk's bruise. Hate could have consumed me, Croft's lies, his threats to Emma. The bricks through Vance's glass. But I let it go, a weight shed like dust. His pawns were trapped, men like me, driven by need, not evil. I forgave them, not for them, but for Emma. For the man I'd be in her eyes. Scarlett nodded, her tremor soft, her gratitude a quiet flame. I taught Emma mercy, her sketches now gifts to Vance's kids, her spark a bridge, not a blade. The city's hum was no beast now. It was a chorus, singing our rise. Media softened, their stories shifting, seeing a father, not a fighter. Jay stood with me, his past a scar we shared. Our bond about to build, not burn. The locket warmed my skin, Emily's voice clear. For her, I'd fought for truth, not vengeance, my heart unburdened, my path lit by Emma's light. Mercy freed us. But would Croft's final strike test it, or had we won? Seattle's dusk bled cold, its spires clawing a sky bruised purple. Vance's halls hummed, but my gut churned, sensing Croft's shadow stirring. A bomb threat hit, scrawled on a burner phone, slipped to a guard. Vance burns tonight. The words were a blade, Croft's loyalists striking from the dark. I gripped my wrench, its heft a vow, and scoured security feeds, eyes burning for a trace. Jace joined me, his hack tracing the signal to a warehouse, a ghost of Croft's empire. The city's pulse was a trap, its streets a maze of eyes. But I moved fast, boots silent on Vance's floors. Emma sketched in the workshop, unaware, her spark my anchor. I told Scarlett, her face stone, her tremor faint she doubled guards. But I knew this was mine to end. The threat's weight pressed, a noose tightening, Croft's venom not yet spent. I checked our hotel's wire traps, their creak my sentinel, and found a camera hidden, blinking, watching us. I smashed it, my hand steady, rage a slow fire. The locket burned my chest, Emily's whisper sharp, for her. I wasn't just a father, I was a hunter. Stalking a beast that wouldn't die. Croft's claw reached again. Could I crush it, or would it tear us apart? The warehouse loomed, a husk of rust and shadow, its air thick with oil and menace. I slipped inside, wrench raised, Jace's drone buzzing low, mapping the dark. A loyalist waited, Croft's last dog, gaunt, eyes wild, clutching a detonator. His voice rasped, cursing me, Vance, Apex. His loyalty a chain to a fallen titan. I spoke, low and steady, not to fight but to break him. Croft's gone. You're free. My words were a blade, cutting his resolve, his hand shaking. He lunged. But I sidestepped, my soldier's instinct sharp, pinning him, the detonator skittering across concrete. I held him down, not with hate but pity, his fight a mirror of my own once broken heart. Jace swept the room, finding no others, just wires and plans. Croft's final gasp, undone. The loyalist wept, his defiance ash, and I let him go, not to jail but to vanish, a ghost spared by mercy. The locket pressed my skin, Emily's voice clear. For her. I wasn't a killer. I was Emma's shield, unyielding. The threat crumbled, but would peace hold, or was this just a pause? Dawn rose. Gray and fierce, Seattle's streets quiet, the threat's echo fading. I stood in Vance's workshop, Emma's sketches pinned high, her spark of flame no shadow could douse. The bomb threat was dead. Its maker gone, no bloodshed, no headline screamed. Scarlett clasped my shoulder, her tremor soft, her gratitude to quiet him. Jace nodded, his drone stilled, our bond of vow unbroken. The city's pulse was no beast now. It was a tide, carrying us forward. I taught Emma to trust, not fear, her questions sharp, her future bright. The media missed this win. Their cameras blind to our silent stand, but I didn't need their light. Vance's staff watched me, their eyes warm, my wrench their shield. The locket warmed my chest, Emily's whisper fierce, for her. I wasn't a hero, just a father who'd faced hell and walked away, my daughter's hand in mine. Our fight was done, not with fanfare but with truth, a spark for Emma's path. Victory was ours. But would Seattle's peace endure, or was another storm brewing? Seattle's dawn broke sharp, its light slicing through Vance's glass, casting shards across the workshop where Emma's sketches hung like stars. Scarlett stood there, her frame slight, her tremor a faint pulse, her eyes iron yet warm. She was no savior. Just a woman carved by her own scars, Parkinson's a shadow she defied, Apex her defiance. She guided me, not with words but presence, her fight a mirror to my own. I'd saved her from fire. But she saved me from despair, her belief in me a balm for wounds I'd long ignored. She mentored Emma, her hands steadying my daughters on circuits, their laughter a thread weaving us tight. Scarlett shared her pain, her illness, her fear of fading, her resolve to burn bright. I saw Emily in her, not in death but in life, a woman who'd faced the void and stood. I spoke of my guilt. Emily's loss, the debts that chained me, and Scarlett listened, her silence a hearth where my shame burned away. She offered me a role, Vance's security head, my wrench now a key, my grit their shield. Emma watched, her spark brighter, her sketches bolder, her future no longer a dream but a path. The city's hum was no beast now. It was a tide, lifting us. Jace joined us, his hacks a quiet aid. His past a scar we shared. Scarlett's strength wasn't in Apex but in her heart, a flame that warmed us all. I gripped the locket, its weight lighter, Emily's whisper soft. For her. I wasn't whole, but I was healing, Scarlett's hand a guide through my ash. The workshop's glow held us, a sanctuary where wounds closed, not with time, but with trust. Healing began, but could it hold against the scars we carried? In Vance's quiet halls, I stood alone, the locket open, Emily's face a wound I'd borne too long. Guilt had been my chain, her death, my failure to save her, the debts that crushed us, the town's scorn. I faced it, raw and unyielding, and let it go, not for peace but for Emma, for the father she deserved. I forgave myself. Not as absolution, but as a vow to be more than my grief. Carter's betrayal, his cruel words, stung still, but I released them, his venom a ghost I'd no need to fight. Croft's pawns, their bricks and threats were men like me, trapped by need. I pardoned them, their sins not mine to carry. Emma learned this too, her anger at her bullies fading, her sketches now gifts to them. Her heart a bridge. Scarlett taught us this, her own forgiveness of Croft's greed a quiet strength, her tremor no barrier to grace. I spoke to Emma, my voice steady, telling her we heal by building, not burning. She nodded, her eyes fierce, her spark unyielding. The city's pulse was a hymn, its streets no longer a gauntlet but a canvas for our rise. Jace's nod was my mirror, his past forgiven. Our bond a spark. The locket rested light, Emily's gaze not accusing but guiding. For her. I wasn't free of pain, but I was free of hate, my soul unburdened, my path clear. Vance's workshop glowed. Emma's drawings a testament to mercy, our wounds stitched by choice, not chance. Forgiveness freed us, but could it endure the world's weight? In our new Seattle home, a modest room above Vance's heart, I hung Emily's locket beside a photo, me, Emma, Scarlett, smiling, a family forged in fire. The locket was no longer a wound but a bridge, linking past to present. Emily's love a spark that lived in Emma's eyes. I'd carried it through crash and chaos, its chain worn but unbroken, a symbol not of loss but of endurance. Emma touched it, her fingers gentle, her voice soft, asking of her mother's courage. I told her truth, Emily's fight, her laughter, her hope for Emma's rise. The photo beside it was our now, Scarlett's quiet strength. Emma's bold sketches, my steady hand. The city's dawn filtered through our window, its lights soft, no longer a blade but a bomb. I worked at Vance, my role a shield, my wrench a tool for building, not breaking. Emma thrived, her young innovators badge a crown, her designs lighting paths I'd never dreamed. Scarlett's guidance was our anchor, her Parkinson's a challenge we faced together. Her fire our guide. Jace's presence was a brother's, his hacks now tools for growth, not war. The locket and photo stood as one, a testament to healing, not erasing scars, but weaving them into strength. The world watched, media sharing Emma's art, our story a spark for others. I wasn't healed, but I was whole. Emma's hand in mine, our future aflame. Healing bound us. But would time test its roots, or was our light eternal? Seattle's dawn burned soft. Its spires no longer knives, but beacons in a sky washed clean. Our new home, a spare room above Vance's pulse, hummed with Emma's sketches pinned to walls, her spark a flame that warmed the air. A year had passed since the crash, since Croft's shadow fell, and I stood reborn, not whole but steady. I led Vance's risk team, my wrench traded for codes and keys. My soldiers I now a shield for Apex's dreams. My hands, scarred from fire and grit, mapped threats no engineer could see, my past a map for their future. Emma thrived. Her young innovators badge a crown, her designs, robots, circuits etched in Vance's steel, her voice bold in halls once cold. Scarlett guided us, her tremor a quiet foe we faced together. Her faith in me a hearth. Jace was my brother now, his hacks tools for growth, his scars a mirror to mine. The city's rhythm was no beast, it was a tide, carrying us. Debts were gone. The shack's ghost faded, replaced by a life carved from ash. I walked Emma to school, her hand small but fierce, her question sharp, her path bright. The locket hung in our room. Emily's gaze not a wound, but a guide. For her, I wasn't a hero, just a father who'd clawed through hell, my purpose clear, Emma's rise, a world remade by her light. Media followed, their lenses soft, sharing our story, not as warriors, but as builders. Vance's workshop glowed, a forge where Emma's dreams took shape, my role a vow to keep it safe. The streets beyond our walls held no traps, only echoes of a fight won, a life reborn. I stood tall, my heart unburdened, Seattle's dawn a promise kept. A new life rose, but could it inspire others, or was our story ours alone? I stood in schoolyards, Seattle's gray skies above, speaking to kids like Emma once was, dreamers trapped by dirt and doubt. My voice, rough from fire and loss, carried our tale, the crash. Croft's fall, Emma's spark. Their eyes, wide and hungry, drank it in, their hands clutching pencils, sketching futures I'd never seen. I wasn't a preacher, just a man who'd walked through ash. My scars a map for their paths. Emma joined me, her sketches shared, her robots, small, clanking, proof a girl from nowhere could rise. Kids swarmed her, their questions a chorus, her laughter a spark that lit their own. I spoke of Emily, her courage, her love, the locket a talisman I showed, its photo a vow. Fight for those you hold. Teachers nodded, their classrooms alive. My words a seed in soil long barren. Beyond schools, our story spread, posts, videos, Emma's designs viral, her name a beacon for the lost. I met fathers like me, broken but standing. Their eyes meeting mine, their hands gripping my arm, their thanks a quiet hymn. Scarlett backed us, her voice steady, Apex a gift to kids who'd never dream elsewise. Jace rigged networks. Streaming Emma's work, his past a shadow burned away. The city's pulse was a song, its people no longer strangers but kin, their stories weaving with ours. The locket's chain rested light. Emily's whisper fierce. For them, I wasn't a leader, but a spark, my fight a flame for others to carry. Media caught it, their stories not of war, but hope, our stand a call to rise. We lit a spark, but would it spread, or fade in the world's cold? Our Seattle home glowed, its walls alive with Emma's art, the locket hung beside a photo, me, Emma, Scarlett. Our smiles of fire no storm could douse. The locket, once a wound, was now a bridge, Emily's love woven into Emma's spark, my grit, Scarlett's flame. I touched it, its chain warm. A symbol of endurance, not loss. Emma laughed, her robots whirring, her future a canvas vast and bold. Scarlett sat with us, her tremor soft, her eyes bright, our family forged in ash, not blood. Jace leaned in, his grin of brothers, his tools idle, our bond a vow unbroken. The city's dawn spilled through our window, its light a hymn, Seattle no longer a crucible but a hearth. I worked for Vance, my role a shield, Emma's dreams my purpose, her rise my redemption. The world watched, sharing Emma's sketches, our story a spark for countless hearts. I stood on our balcony, the locket in hand, Emily's voice clear, for her. Courage ain't facing the storm, it's carrying others through its teeth. If you've risen from ash, share your tale below, your spark could light another's way. Thanks for walking this road with us. Subscribe, share, let's keep the fire burning. I read every word you write, grateful for your voices. Promising more stories to come. Final emotional interpolation, your fight matters. Drop your story below, let's inspire the world together. Our light burned bright, but would it endure? Or flicker in time's shadow?